Welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Eugene Chan. Our guest this evening is Mr. Casper Tsui, the Executive Director of the Federation of Hong Kong Hotel Owners. Mr. Tsui has 15 years of experience in public policies and governance, having served with our Hong Kong SAR government in different positions, including Under-Secretary for Labour and Welfare and Secretary for Home Affairs until 2022. Prior to that, he also had nearly 10 years of management experience in the financial sector in both North America and Hong Kong. So with Mr. Tsui here, as one of the leaders of the hospitality sector, we will explore the current state, recent challenges, and future opportunities for Hong Kong hotels industry. What is the key to their success? Welcome, Casper.
Hi, Eugene.
Casper, you know the hotel industry in Hong Kong has been quite hardly hit in the last few years, with first social unrest leading to riots, and of course COVID. But Hong Kong people are quite resilient, and I'm sure the hotel industry is no exception. And since the travel exceptions are fully dropped over a year ago, the tourist numbers have finally rebounded significantly. And how are our hotels doing right now, and what are the occupancy rate as compared to pre-COVID level?
Well, I think we have to thank the central government for really helping Hong Kong adjusting to the recovery. Since the reopening of the borders, we've been recovering quite well. In 2023, we've gone back up to about 80% of occupancy. Of course, our peak is also, close to 90%. So we're still in about 10% drop from the peak. But then comparing to the other retail, F&B, airline, we've been doing quite well. But there are a lot of challenges because, with the new way that people travel, how we spend, we are all also adapting to the changes, especially with the new mainland travelers coming back to Hong Kong. We need to showcase what we always had to offer. There's a quite significant drop in overseas travelers, but that's due to probably the airline capacity not at the peak yet. But soon, I think, we're going to see, close to 80–90% at the end of this year.
Right.
So that's very encouraging.
Right. So, Casper, could you give our viewers, I'm sure a lot of people have been to hotels, but not very often we get someone sort of expert from the field telling us how many hotels do we have in Hong Kong? And I'm sure you have different types of hotels and luxury and budget or even business hotels. And actually, how many percent of the people are being employed in the industry? Well,
Hong Kong's tourist industry has always been one of the main pillars of the Hong Kong economy. In 2019, we have the entire tourism industry. We have over 230,000 jobs created by, that's about 6% of the Hong Kong employment. In terms of GDP, we made up close to 3.6% of Hong Kong's economy, so it's not small at all. We have close to 321 hotels. That's not counting the hostels that we have. We have a lot of mid-budget hotels. That's more than like 50%. But the beauty of what Hong Kong has to offer is we have different variety and options for tourists to choose from. So you get the 6-7 stars hotel. We actually have 2 hotels that ranked at the top 50 in the world last year. And like I said, we also have a long list of budget hotels, business hotels, just to cater for different travelers' needs. So I think, what Hong Kong has to offer is we have something for everyone.
Right, that's very encouraging, because often in the news, people are saying, oh, Hong Kong hotels are very expensive. That's the reason why people are not coming. But as you're saying, we have arranged something for everybody.
Yes, that's true. If the tourists are not coming, we won't see 80% occupancy rate just for last year. But of course, we want to attract more travelers from different regions, different markets, and we need to bring in the contents. People come to Hong Kong sometimes for meetings, because sometimes for events, and sometimes for just leisure. So I think this is something that Hong Kong's position is different from many other cities in the world.
Right. So do we have enough hotels? From what you're saying, do we have any particular shortages, like the high end or even the low end?
I think there's always room for more hotels. Investors are interested in investing in Hong Kong just because we have a list of, I guess, offering for different travelers. Like I said, usually if you talk about leisure hotel, the peak season would be Christmas, Chinese New Year, we have the May Golden Labor Week, and then the summer, and then we have the October. And on top of that, we also have different months that will attract conferences, meetings, exhibitions. Right. That's going to fill the entire year. Right. So like I said, there's always room for more hotels, but we also need to have better coordination of lining up the different activities. Like what we had earlier in March, we have the financial mega week, followed by the Art Central and Art Basel event, and then wrapping it up with the Rugby 7. Right. This is what we need to do more, to attract more tourists, staying more nights in Hong Kong and enjoying what we have to offer.
Right, and also viewers are often, they might actually use Airbnbs overseas. It's very popular. How is that in Hong Kong, and does it affect the hotel industry at all?
Well, that's actually the new way of traveling. People are not joining more tour groups as compared to before. People are going to online platform, ordering, different list of packages, airline, high-speed rail, hotel, and event tickets. That seems to be the new way of doing business in especially tourism nowadays. Not talking about specific online platform, I think these can help us promote what we have to offer, but also creates problem as well. Because like a certain platform that you just mentioned also offered unlicensed hotel or rooms. And I don't think that's something that we want to see. That's probably some room that we can enhance, the government can enhance the regulation to protect tourist interests as well. Tourists coming to Hong Kong and staying in unregulated accommodation spaces, this is not going to be good for tourists if something bad happens, accident happens. So yes, like I said, this is the way to go if you want to travel around the world. But I think there's some room that we can still improve.
Right, Casper. Apart from that, I think a lot of viewers, as you have mentioned about tourists, I'm sure the Hong Kong people, we do go to hotels quite often.
Yes.
So how important actually are this part of business to the hotels? You have conventions, you have weddings and parties, and many F&B outlets are very famous. So how important is this part of the business to the hotel industry?
Well, I think events are very important for tourist experience in Hong Kong. And hotels, we are probably one of the first experience. Guests come to Hong Kong, they come to our hotel, and they get the first impression of our service and quality. Right. Yes, hotel industry is very important. So how do we continue to maintain that level of service and enhance travelers' experience? That is going to be a major challenge coming forward in the next 10, 20 years. Right. Because we're competing with many different cities around the world that's close by. There are synergies, but we're also competitors as well.
Right, just want to ask you, since you mentioned we have like over 300 hotels in Hong Kong, different ranges. COVID has been very tough, and Hong Kong people have to be very, sort of appreciative to the hotel owners who turned them into quarantine hotels. But has any hotels actually facing so much difficulty that actually closes down over the last few years?
Fortunately, we haven't seen a lot of closure because, like you said, during the unrest, during the COVID, we have actually hang in there. And I think the first batch of people we need to appreciate and thank is not just the owners, but our frontline staff as well. Right. It's a very tough time during those years. They stuck with us, and now it should be a better, days ahead. But we are also facing some challenges, like the shortage of labor as well. So I think going forward, we are still seeing a very attractive industry for investors, and it's still a very, I guess, rewarding industry, and we want to attract more young talents coming back to our industry to serve our guests as well.
But Casper, also the term staycation.
Yes.
That's become very popular among the last few years. Has that continued to be popular?
Staycation is actually a way to ride out the COVID period. With the opening of the borders, we're seeing a lot of Hong Kong residents traveling elsewhere as well. Staycation, it's something that actually we do not want to continue to promote. It's something that we can continue to have.
Right.
But hotels, we're here to serve overseas guests. That should be the new shift back to normality, and you will probably see more events for local like F&B. I mean, hotels is not just staying overnight or over the weekend. Hong Kong hotels, we have lots of F&B, Michelin stars restaurants. These are also offering that we can not only attract overseas tourists, but local residents as well.
All right, let's take a break now, but viewers, stay tuned. We will be right back for more discussion on what the future holds for our hotel industry. Thank you for staying with us on Straight Talk. We have Mr. Casper Choy, the Executive Director of the Federation of Hong Kong Hotel Owners, with us this evening. He has given us a brief overview of the hotel industry, and we have been talking about the challenges hoteliers are facing now post-COVID. So, Casper, you had given us a very sort of a good future outlook for the hotels, and hopefully more people will join the industry because we do need good services. One point I wanted to raise, that you mentioned that the occupancy rate is now over 80%, because according to the tourism board, we see that the numbers of tourists has recovered from like 52% compared to 2018. And we are anticipating that percentage will go up to 75%, meaning more people coming back. As you said, airlines is going to support it better. Do we have enough hotels? Because we're already 80% occupancy.
We can always have more hotels. But I think the biggest challenge is not whether or not we can open more hotels, but whether or not we have sufficient services to offer. With the lack of manpower, that seems to be a very big challenge. Earlier last year, the hotel trade had mentioned we have lost close to 20% of our staff post-COVID. And the manpower is not coming back yet, mainly because it's actually a structural problem that we have in Hong Kong. We have close to full employment right now. Unemployment is at 3%. Anybody who wishes to work can easily find a job if they want to come to the hotels. We have many jobs still open. Yes, the government has done a great effort in trying to allow foreign laborers coming to Hong Kong, but the time it takes, it's still very long. I mean, imagine if a talk show, you need someone to work, and the amount of time it takes to hire someone is about 9 months to a year. Probably the show would get cancelled. So yes, Hong Kong, we have room for more hotels. Unfortunately, we need to resolve the manpower issue first.
Right. So Casper, you have repeatedly mentioned that we need more hotels.
Yes.
However, if you look at the trend now, as you just said, it's more authentic travel experiences and more affordable accommodation, including more need for budget hotel for businesses. So will our hotels need to lower their rates to sort of adapt to this new trend? But we're over 80%, so what shall we do?
Well, I think when we look at the rates in Hong Kong, we are very competitive and comparable. Otherwise, the government wouldn't raise the hotel accommodation tax next year. But putting that aside, we compare to Singapore, we compare to Sanya, we compare to Shanghai, Tokyo, Beijing. We're not, too far off. Actually, we rates are sometimes in the lower compared to Singapore, especially events weeks and holidays as well. The biggest challenge is the rising costs in operation. Lack of manpower, in order to find helpers, we need to raise the salary and benefits. with the new taxes, new regulation to support environmental policy, which we all support. These are some of the elements that's going to have difficulty lowering our rates. But I think Hong Kong, we always pride ourselves on service and quality. So we never compete on pricing.
Right.
And like I said, besides quality and service, we have a good variety to offer. We have hotels at the high end. We have low-budget hotels as well. So there are, like I said, if tourists are coming to Hong Kong, it's only 80% occupancy rate. We still have 20% left.
Right.
So there's always room for tourists to come to Hong Kong and find a good hotel to stay. And yes, if you ask me, there are still a lot of room for more hotels in Hong Kong.
Right, so I think tonight, the viewers will get a very clear message from you that one, Hong Kong hotels are not so expensive that people don't come. As you said earlier, Singapore is more expensive, and we are very competitive even amongst Macau and the mainland.
Yes.
So we need more hotels.
We need more hotels.
Right. Also, we all look at our recent statistics that 2/3 of our visitors last year was from mainland, but 70% of them didn't stay overnight. That's another new trend. They will just come and go. So that's kind of a new way of seeing Hong Kong. So how can hotels benefit on that part?
Well, actually, if we look at the numbers, not by percentage, at the peak, Hong Kong, we have close to 65 million tourists coming to Hong Kong. So if we look at the numbers, last year it's only 30 million. And when we look at the percentage again, 50% of those coming to Hong Kong are staying overnight. Actually, the percentage is better than before. In the old days, before COVID and the unrest, we have about 45% staying overnight. So actually that has improved quite a bit. But then again, if you go back to the numbers again, there's still millions of tourists can come to Hong Kong. And that's why I said we need more hotel rooms.
Right.
And we need more events to attract them to come, not just come to Hong Kong, but spend a few nights here.
Right. You have also mentioned a couple of times that the manpower shortages and also the rising cost on energy, or even the new the tax from the government from 1st of 2025. So how is the hotel going to face all the challenges while saying that we are more expensive than others?
Well, first of all, we're not more expensive than others, but I think our quality and service are still top of the world. What we need is more showcase. If we look at last year and this year, we have many mega events. That is the best promotion that we have. People talk about how bad Hong Kong is, but when I talk to tourists who've been to Hong Kong, I talk to business sectors, executives who came to Hong Kong, they have only good things to say. During the unrest, tourists are afraid to come to Hong Kong. During the COVID, people can't travel. But when we look at the recovery effort, when we look at the mega events, like sporting events, concerts, big conferences in Hong Kong, you see floods of people coming to Hong Kong, and after they leave, they said Hong Kong is better than before.
Right.
So what we need is more of these showcases. It's probably best commercial that we can get the free airtime.
Right.
Earlier this year, we have a golf event in Hong Kong. We have over a long weekend of golfers coming, and then sports channels all over the world are broadcasting what we have to offer. We got these golfers coming and enjoying some of the cuisines that we have, going to the race courses. These are our best spokespersons, so we need more of those.
I must say, for our viewers who had been following our programs, we had a show on the lift golf event as well as the recent rugby sevens. And when I got the chance to talk to those overseas visitors, they are very impressed with Hong Kong, and it's very encouraging that Hong Kong is actually much better than we think locally.
Yes, we do. I think even the politicians need to actually be more optimistic about what we have to offer. On top of that, we have many new opportunities. In the past, before the COVID, before the social unrest, we don't have the West Kowloon Cultural District. And next year, we're going to have the Kai Tak Sports Park. and then the national games is going to be next year as well.
Yes.
So these are all new venues, new events that's going to, attract more tourists coming to Hong Kong. We should grasp those opportunities to showcase what Hong Kong has to offer and what new things we can offer.
Right, Casper, and if you look at sort of years ahead, I'm looking at the last 2 decades, we've seen some significant changes in our infrastructure. We have our high-speed rail, we have the Zhuhai Bridge, and also more cross-boundary checkpoints. So Kenneth Wong from the Tourism Board said the GBA opportunity is a game changer for general tourism and business events. So what opportunities has this created or opened up for our hotel industry?
Well, I think we should grasp this opportunity to have more collaboration with the GBA cities. The Greater Bay creates a huge opportunities, especially for business as well. A lot of conferences, meeting, and overseas investors or Middle East investors come to Hong Kong looking at the Greater Bay opportunity. So we should have more collaboration and events coordination with the Greater Bay cities. Like Macau, they have concerts. We can have tourists coming to Hong Kong and then the next stop going to Macau. Most tourists, if you look at mainland or overseas cities, they can spend 3 to 5 days. On average, I know it's about 3.6, but for the business deals, a lot of them are willing to travel for 5 to 7 days.
Right.
Now, Hong Kong probably can attract them to 3 to 4 nights.
Right.
That's in line with the numbers that we have. They come to the Greater Bay, come to Hong Kong, and then they would make the next stop to Macau, Guangzhou, Shenzhen. This is the package that we need to offer. It's like people in Hong Kong going to Japan. If you go to Osaka, you probably take a next stop to Kyoto. So this is the Bay Area concept that we need to embrace and adapt. We're not going to have 7 days, of tourists staying in Hong Kong alone. But we do have enough offerings for them to come back in the next trip.
Right, Casper, I'm going to ask you final 2 questions. One is Mr. Xia Baolong said to our chief executive that we must look at the new situation every day, not with just the old eyes and old thinking to solve new problems. How do you see that we can apply that concept in the hotel industry in short?
We've been doing that all along. We've been adapting, offering new technology, new collaboration, new events. What we need is actually government's help. Resolving the problem that we face.
Right. What will you want the government to do for you?
Well, first of all, we have more room for hotels. We need laborers. Okay. We need more promotion, so we need coordination.
All right. I'm afraid that's all the time we have. Thank you, Casper. The people of Hong Kong have always prided ourselves on becoming a welcoming destination, and our hotels have continued to sustain even through the recent challenges. We look forward to even more innovations for the enjoyment of both locals and visitors. As John Rockefeller Jr. said, the secret of success is to do the common thing uncommonly well. Have a good evening and see you next week.